Okay, so welcome to the Beachcomber Meditation Podcast. I'm Heather Egan-Addis and I'm here with my dear friend Tracy Connor. And today we're going to be talking about the practice of gratitude. So, how are you doing today, Tracy?
I'm feeling very grateful, Heather, to be being here with you and the sun shining and I can see birds outside. How are
Mm.
you?
Yeah, no, I'm very good. Yeah, enjoying the sunshine also. Had a walk on the beach this morning, and the dogs are just very leisurely sleeping in a very abandoned position on the sofa, which is always adorable to see. Yeah, so also
Oh,
incredibly grateful for being alive today. Mm.
lovely. So, I have a few questions to ask you. About gratitude. So, why is gratitude a habit of happy people? Yeah,
Mm.
why is it why is gratitude a habit of happy people?
Okay. Well, this is because um, if we practice being grateful for all the little good things in life, it makes us happy. It cultivates joy. So, the way to cultivate joy in life is to practice gratitude and appreciation for all of the little things, all the little good things that are happening every day. That makes us happy. Would you agree with that, or is there anything you'd add to that?
I would absolutely agree with that, Heather. In fact, it's sort of quite a sort of coincidence that this is the subject for this podcast because, it's something that I've been really focusing on more the last few weeks
Mm.
because there's been a lot of stuff going on in my life that I realised I was being sucked into kind of negativity. And even just, focusing on gratitude even like a little bit in the morning in my practice and then throughout the day, I can just feel how it's really, you know, brought a lightness and a joy. Yeah, so it is a really powerful thing.
Yeah, good,
Mm.
good.
So why is practicing gratitude important to you, Heather?
Okay, well, I think everybody should have like a disciplined practice of gratitude, and I have practiced gratitude a lot over the years, um, and when I in the early days when I was working in the Mindfulness Association, like when I was running the Mindfulness Association, I'd often go and see my teacher Lama Yeshe Rinpoche and moan about how difficult it all was, and like he would say, Heather, you just need to practice joy. You need to practice gratitude and appreciation so you become joyful, joyful, joyful. And he'd wave his finger at me as he said, joyful, joyful, joyful. And I thought, oh, really? Anyway, so I did. And he said, like, if you want people to follow you, if you want to work well with other people in a team, he said, then the key thing is joyfulness. That you need to be joyful. People will really warm to that and appreciate that, and not inauthentic joy, but actual authentic joy. So I've done practices over the years, like when I wake up in the morning, three things that I'm grateful for. When I go to sleep at night, three things that have gone well in the day. And one of the things that we're doing at Beachcomber Meditation is that most of the meditation practices that we do, we start with gratitude and appreciation. So we sort of settle into our posture, reflect on our intention and motivation, and then we bring to mind someone or something that we really love that makes us smile. So this is something that we really appreciate, or someone we really appreciate or are grateful for in our lives. And there's a neuroscientist and meditation teacher called Rick Hanson who has this practice of taking in the good. And he makes the point that we're very threat oriented as human beings because if we respond to threats, that's how our species has survived. And in this day and age, we see all the worst threats from all around the world every day on the news. So our sort of negativity bias towards threat is stimulated. So we need to balance that by being grateful for the good things in life. And so the threats like stick in the mind like a Velcro fastening like sticks. Whereas the good things that we're grateful for tend to slide off the mind because there's no survival imperative to remember the good things. So when something good happens, you do actually have to pause and pay real attention to it. So this is why in the Beachcomber meditation, when we bring to mind at the beginning of a practice this person that we love, we smile, we allow the smile to reach the eyes, and then we imagine breathing any feelings of happiness and joy into our heart and breathing it out around the whole of the mind and body, so that we actually spend some time with those feelings of gratitude, so that we're actually able to soak them in. So yeah, gratitude's so important to me because I would say I've had some quite turbulent times recently, and the thing that's really struck me is that I might have another 10 years or so of my working life, and I might have another 20 years or so, maybe 30 of, well, 20 realistically, of a healthy life. And I really want to make the most of that. I want to enjoy that. And I know that the way that I can enjoy the rest of my life is by being grateful and appreciative of all the good things that happen day after day after day. And then it kind of grows and grows and grows. Yeah. So I've kind of waxed lyrical there, haven't I, about why gratitude practice is important to me. And is it important to you, Tracy?
It really is, and everything you've said, I concur with. I mean, it can absolutely turn everything around. I just know that when I focus on what I can see, like even just like when I drive to work, I'll go, "Hello, tree. It's lovely to see you. Thank you for what you do for us." You take in our carbon dioxide and send us out oxygen, and it just changes things. And I think when you talked about how you guide the meditation at the beginning, bringing to mind somebody who or a being who makes you smile. It's this power of our imagination. So I think gratitude hooks into imagination too, and then what we think of in our mind and permeates into our heart and throughout our emotions. So yeah, it's a really, really important thing for me. And the last thing you said about how about appreciating life and being grateful for life, it it helps us to make the most of every moment, and
Mm,
because we appreciate that we are alive.
mm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Well,
Mm.
and also the work that you do, and like the work that I do in the NHS. I mean, I see a lot of people who are poorly and who are dying, and often they're not that much older than me. Often they're younger than me, and
Yeah.
that's you would think that would make you feel down and sad, and to some extent it does, but it also kind of makes me realize that you know I am mortal. I am going to get ill, and I am going to die one day, but not today. Today I can
Yeah.
enjoy this life. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I was watching the other day. I was just watching, looking at the blossoms on the trees and thinking about and the flowers in at the side of the road as I was driving home, and I was thinking, oh, they're only here for a little while. They're only here for a little, like a few days. And then I was thinking, and the birds aren't here for very long, and the trees that a couple of hundred years ago they'll start decaying, and then I thought everything's impermanent, and like you say, I'm impermanent, but it's okay because it's all part of life. We're part of the world, life. We are nature, and it really, that perspective really just brings freedom and joy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
very good.
So we've talked about practicing joy, but sometimes it's not always easy. So what are some of the blocks to gratitude and how do we overcome them?
Okay, so I think the main block to gratitude, I think there's two main ones. One is what Rob Nairn always used to call poverty mentality. So a lot of us, and I was very much like this, have this attitude that that things aren't good enough, that my life isn't good enough, that I'm not good enough. I mean, I lived a lot of my adult life with a strong sense of I'm not good enough. And that drove me towards perfectionism and caused a lot of stress and suffering. So I think that's one of the big ones. Um, and as with all these blocks, it's just about recognizing and allowing them. And if we do that enough, that creates the conditions for them to change by themselves. I remember being on retreat once with Rob Nairn, and I had quite an insight into this because I really did think I wasn't good enough, and it was just something that arose in me, and the first thing that arose in me was like a thought, oh, I am good enough, and it came with quite a lot of lightness, and then the thought that followed quickly on the heels of that was, well, what does good enough mean anyway? Like it's a
Mm.
nonsense thing, and that was quite a pivotal point in my in my approach to that. So poverty mentality, I think, is one of the blocks. And then another one is that, as we've already said, that practicing gratitude leads us to feel joyful. And some people have a block to feeling joyful because they don't feel that they deserve to be joyful, or they might feel guilty that they're joyful while other people aren't. But I think the thing to recognize there that is if we're joyful, it fills us with the resources to be kind and helpful and compassionate to those around us who are in difficulty. Whereas if we're miserable, then we don't have that capacity and the people around us will be miserable. So if we're actually more joyful, chances are the people we come into contact with will pick up on that joy. So yeah, with the blocks, it's all about recognizing the blocks, being curious about them, like allowing the thoughts, allowing the emotions, allowing the sensations, and just noticing and recognizing maybe how these obstacles to gratitude actually cause us to suffer. And then that creates the conditions for change to happen of its own accord. Yeah. What would you say if you had any experience of kind of gratitude being blocked or?
think I think sometimes it's been when I've people in my life have been unhappy or they've been unwell,
Mm,
or an ending of a very significant relationship. I think I felt um, guilty for
mm,
maybe feeling continuing to feel happy and grateful.
mm,
But I think one of the things that through my practice is recognizing that. Uh, you know, there are life is 10,000 joys and 10,000 sorrows,
mm,
and it's about walking hand in hand with those. And that just because bad things are happening, it doesn't mean we can't, be grateful for what is going well. Because most of the time, more things are going well than not well. So yeah, it's I've been lucky because I'm quite I've always been a sort of from being a little girl, I've been quite a glass half full person, and just been a very mischievous and like bubbly, and that so I haven't felt like I've had a lot of blocks, but yeah, I think that it's not a block, but an important thing is remembering to be grateful,
yes.
remembering to remember, and then as soon as you remember, then it can shift everything, shifts perspective, shifts emotion, shifts our mood.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah.
mm.
So, what is important about being grateful for the things we don't like as well as the things we do? I sort of touched on it there a little bit, but what would you say?
Well, there's in the Lojong teachings of Tibetan Buddhism, which is a series of phrases training us in compassion. One of the phrases is be grateful to everyone. And kind of what that means is be grateful to the ones that you like, but also be grateful to the ones that you don't like. Because the ones that you don't like, the people that you find difficult, or the situations that you find difficult, the challenges in life, that's where the personal growth comes through meditation practice. So I know that earlier on in my life when a mistake happened or when something didn't go how I expected it to go, I used to get quite upset and distressed about it, and blame myself, give myself a really hard time about things going wrong. But I came to realize over the years that actually these are just wonderful opportunities for learning. And, you know, you can't go through life not making mistakes. You can't go through life with things not being difficult or, as you said, a thousand joys, a thousand challenges. There will be difficult things. But if you can make those difficult things into a learning opportunity, rather than catastrophizing and think, oh, this is the worst thing that's ever happened, it's awful, and then you kind of the emotions get bigger and bigger and you become overwhelmed. If you can go, oh, this is interesting, this thing has happened, I'm not so happy about this now, how can I kind of approach this in a proactive way, and what can I learn from it? Pema Chodron talks in her book, Start Where You Are, about us all having a curriculum for the day. So it's life sets you a challenge. It sets you, this is your learning curriculum for the day. What can you learn? And so over the years, even massive difficulties that happen, often I do feel kind of upset to begin with, but I can move through that upset more speedily and come to a point where I think, okay, right, this has happened, come to terms with it, kind of accept this is a situation now. What can I learn from it? And I might bring it to my meditation. And what also helps is to continue to practice, gratitude and appreciation and be joyful about the good things so that you have the resources to continue and face the challenge. But then if we get to a point in life where when challenges happen, we're grateful for them because we recognize it's an opportunity for learning and personal growth. Well, then it doesn't really matter which is happening, the thousand joys or the thousand challenges or sorrows, because each of them we see as an opportunity for learning and understanding more about ourselves and our place in the world and the world and how things work. Yeah, so that would be my answer to that question. I don't know what you think.
I mean, I can't add a lot more to it, but other than, that's been my experience too. And, I think gratitude and seeing things that are challenges as maybe being curious about them, and they bring it gradually brings an acceptance of that thing. So we're not resisting it, we're not fighting against it, we're not we're not being troubled by it. And yeah, no, it is a wonderful thing. And I can't remember the name of the person who said it, but there's a wonderful quote about gratitude that I always remember. We're not um, grateful because we're happy. We're happy because we're grateful.
That's
I think
beautiful.
that's a lovely quote.
Yeah,
Yeah. We're
and just
happy because we're grateful.
happy because we're grateful. Yeah, absolutely. Then that shows why happy people, why
Mm.
gratitude is one of the habits of happy people. And I have to say, like these days, one of the things that I am most grateful for is this path of meditation that I've been on. I feel that there are so many benefits in my life from a regular meditation practice. And I feel so grateful that I'm one of the people in the world who has come across these teachings,
Yeah,
and also
me
that I have
too.
the inclination to practice them and have practiced them. And the happiness that I feel in life these days is extraordinary, and it's all down to that path of practice.
I totally agree with you, Heather. I was just talking to a friend last night about how, the single most important thing that happened to me in my life
Mm.
was starting the mindfulness association, the mindfulness master's degree that you taught on. And that's when it was introduced to a regular practice in 2013. And it really turned my life around. So thank you for that.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And you've gone on to share that with others too, which is wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So so next month at Beachcomber Meditation in June, that's what we're going to be exploring gratitude. We're going to be exploring how to cultivate gratitude, what some of the blocks to gratitude are, and how we work with those blocks. And then we'll also be exploring the things in life that are difficult, but can we be grateful for those too? And then finally, really celebrating and being grateful for the path of practice that we're embarking on. So, yeah, that will be the next topic for our Beachcomber meditation, year of meditation, where we look at a different theme every month and explore it in detail. So this has been the Beachcomber Meditation podcast this week. So thank you, Tracy, so much. It's been wonderful, as always, to see you and to talk to you.